Y voy a abrir un juego muy especial. Espera a ver si lo consigo. Era necesario poner una opción de estéreo mono. Se me escucha siquiera, esto está fuertísimo, ¿no? Oh mierda, esto se ha ido a la mierda. Ahora. ¿Qué tal se escucha? Muy fuerte en comparación a mi voz. Bajo, subo, volumen, por favor ayuda. Uf, cómo mete ahí los leitmotivs. Está bien. It's so quiet. Do you think they forgot? Forget a royal visitation? No one could make such a blunder, princess. Well, I guess I shall just go in then. ¡Oh no! Malon ha matado a Mario, pero sigue viva. Oh no, tengo aquí el pollito que va a arruinar todo el stream porque está chillando. Me lo llevo un momento. Hay que llevárselo de aquí. Que me va a arruinar el clip. Mi precioso, ven aquí. Ven aquí. No te vayas. Ven aquí. Que me arruina el clip. Toma, ahí tienes la comidita y aquí tienes el agua. Sube ahí, sube ahí. Putada, porque esto ahora me obligará a editar el clip. No podré ponerlo a saco todo el tirón. Estaba haciendo sus barridas que hace por la casa y no de un lado a otro. ¿No sabes inglés? Pues deja de aprender Python Y aprende inglés, mucho más importante. Que ya me lo acabo, un trago más. Ahora un Pleniche cristal para quitarme el sabor. Mira esa textura de la lámpara. Qué mal pegada ahí. Parece que la han recortado con tijera, lo han tenido que pegar con pegamento. Aspiró una demasiado. Vale, vayamos a ello. Otra cosa que quería hacer, que debería cambiar de ahora, es el chatbox. Si vamos a sus propiedades. Esto tiene puesto... High delay está en 60 segundos. Tal vez habría que ponerlo un poco más alto. Bueno, lo dejamos para otro día. ¿Cómo consigo el filtro de notoriedad? Está esto intentando imitar tal cual. Es muy clavado en la pantalla similar de la Ace Attorney. R Court Record. You will think that after so many years of doing this, I will be used to the stress. Link es el abogado. Attorney's badge prove that I can stand in court as an attorney. So why am I shaking? Yeah, I guess it's a lot worse when it's your friend's life that's on the line. Come on, gotta look professional. She can't see you like this. Un momento, no he encendido los focos. Full. Ahora brillo un poquito demasiado. ¡Coño! ¿Qué ha pasado? Ha desaparecido. No me deja cambiar las opciones de vídeo y de cámara ya. Tendrá que ser así. Speaking of her though, where is she anyway? Hey, you over here! Huh? What is it, attorney? The trial isn't starting yet. But it will be soon, right? Will you happen to know why my client isn't here yet? I didn't get to speak much with her when she was arrested, so I was hoping I could at least exchange a word with her now. Wahaha! Well, you weren't the only one with the idea. I believe she is currently in the prosecutor's lobby. He wanted to talk to her as well. What? What is up with this guy? He bars me from the crime scene, blocks my detention center visits, and now this? Not to worry, she will definitely be here before the trial. Great, that will be a joyous 5 minutes indeed. But there's nothing I can do but wait. Sometime later? Okay, this is ridiculous. How much longer can he keep her? Ah, see, there she is. No need to get all worked up. Is something wrong? Did I hear shouting? So much for looking professional. No, don't worry. Everything's fine. This is Manon. Ever since we met in Hyrule Castle Town all those years ago, we have been great friends. Her heart's in the right place. I know she cared deeply about her father. If everything's fine, why do you look so worried? Well, how did the investigation go? Did you find anything? Yes, the investigation. I found tons of groundbreaking stuff. Pobrecita, tiene a Link como abogado y va a ser condenada a muerte. Particularly that my opponent is a real scumbag. Dios, no me gusta, estoy demasiado brillante. ¿Puedo tal vez apagar para compensar una de estas? Solo una. What did the prosecutor want from you anyway? Well, it was mostly just threats. He kept explaining in detail what will happen to me if I'm found guilty. Doesn't sound like a vital discussion that needed to happen right before the trial. He probably just did that so we wouldn't have as much time to talk. You believe in me, right? I didn't do it. I will never. Of course I believe you. Soy tu abogado. Although I'll be honest, things aren't looking very good right now. Espero que Link llegue traje. Lo doy por hecho. Lo doy por hecho. What's that you've got there? Oh, this is just a pictograph of Father I carry around. I just can't believe he's gone. Ha sido Luigi. Ha sido Luigi. I wish I knew how to cheer her up right now. I'm not very good at handling emotional clients. Hey, pero si es tu amiga, te ha dicho. Has dicho tú mismo. You know, that pictograph could be really useful for the trial. Oh? How so? Well, you look so happy together. I can present it to show that you two had a great relationship. You really think so? Ah, well, here you go then. Espero que pones un testigo por sorpresa y lleve tarjeta también. Malon's pictograph added to the call record. Estaría guapo, en verdad. At least I'll be walking in there with something other than my badge. But wait, we shouldn't just be idly chatting. Anyway, there's not much time left. I know it's hard to talk about, but could you tell me what actually happened? La música, por cierto, brutal, ¿eh? El remix abogado. I don't stand much chance if I don't know your version of the story. I understand. Unfortunately, the trial is starting. Defendant, attorney, please enter the courtroom at once. Oh, shouldn't have said that stuff about having no chance. Alright, everything will be fine. The prosecutor has been playing me for a fool since this began, but sooner or later his arrogance will be his undoing. ¡Ja! ¡Te engañé! Te crees que estás viendo un gameplay, pero estás viendo mi sección de práctica de pronunciación de inglés. Primo. Let's head inside. My name is Link. I'll be a defense attorney for the last 7 years. I've won my fair share of cases and lost some too, but this one is personal. There's so much at stake here. Not only do I have to save Malon's life, I've gotta find out who did this to Talon. Talon, he was always so kind. He didn't deserve this. I need to do him justice. I can't lose this. Ganon, por supuesto. Es el fiscal. Court is now in session for the trial of Malon of Lon Ranch. Habría molado que hubiesen puesto al búho para hacer de juez. The defense is ready, Your Honor. I sincerely doubt that. Doubt that. What were they thinking pitting me against some pathetic kid? ¿Me podéis reconfirmar que mi voz está bien y la música está tan bien? Que el audio se escucha bien, que no tengo que bajar la música, bajar mi voz, etcétera. Subirme a mí un poquito, no, eso no es posible. Solo puedo bajar un poco la música. Así de un poquito menos o la bajo un poquito más. Ups. Así está bien, vale, gracias. La ocarinilla por ahí. What were they thinking, Pitmas, eh? Sí, por un momento iba a decir, no va trajeado, sí, va, lleva el traje azul pero con la corbata. Aunque los guantes igual sobraban. Eran parte del traje, ¿no? Igual sí. Still your tongue. You bring shame upon the fine color of your hair, vile woman. Before long the world shall know the horrible deeds you have committed. Me gusta este Ganon. Sassy. Let us not prolong the inevitable. Shall we begin? Now, this court has no place to be exchanging insults. Since the prosecution seems ready as well, let's hear their opponent's statement. The opening statement shall also be the closing one. The girl did it, it's obvious. She killed her own father in cold blood. Also, she could have the ranch to herself. Couldn't wait for the old fool to die naturally, could you, you greedy little rat? Objection, no sé ni qué es lo que ha salido. He escrito objection en japonés o en jairulense, seguramente. Que no domino. Ahora han tenido el detalle. Eran eso las runas de texto que salen por Hyrule. Your Honor, you can't allow this man to verbally abuse the defendant like this. She committed murder, kid. She deserves every bit of corn she gets. I do believe a little less commentary wouldn't go amiss. Bah! I assure you, old man, you will change your opinion once you see all of the damning evidence. Who is this guy? How can he speak to the judge like that? Ganondorf Dragmire. Looks like I've been lucky to avoid meeting this man until now. The stories I've heard about him must be true. A boorish barbarian of a man hailing from the Gerudo province. Apparently, he prides himself on the nearly clean lake he's cultivated for decades. All while disrespecting everyone in the court, including the judge. Justo ahora me estaba planteando, Gerudo, en español lo pronunciamos Gerudo porque somos españoles, pero en realidad se pronuncia Gerudo. ¿Alguien puede confirmar? Como jugué este juego cuando era muy pequeño, en mi cabeza originalmente todas las palabras son como las pronuncia un niño español, incluyendo Irule. I've even heard some attorneys refer to him as the king of evil. Better call Ganon. Better call Ganon. No, voy a repetir el chiste bien pronunciado. Better call Ganon. ¿Alguien puede ir a la Wikipedia, buscar Gerudo, ponerlo en japonés y leer la transcripción a Romaji de cómo se... Romaji no, a Hiragana de cómo se pronuncia? No, supongo que es demasiado pedir. No está Ginchu en el chat, necesitamos a Ginchu para esto. Definitely has that look at the very least. Who wears full armor to court? Se lee, pero se lee G, no G, no Gerudo. Necesito confirmación. ¿Cuál es tu prueba? ¿Cuáles son tus fuentes? Very well, please present your case to the court. Gerudo, eso pone. You don't seem to like me talking, so I'll just let the detective present the basics. Gerudo. Es con G entonces. Migu, te equivocaste. Homatogo, puedes buscar también lo mismo pero para Hyrule. O Hyrule. Así que es Gerudo después de todo. Mi cerebro no puede aceptarlo. Mi cerebro nunca cambiará Gerudo por Gerudo, pero se intentará. Homatogo, confirma con Hyrule. Hyraru. O sea, Hyrule. Entiendo por qué Hyrar. Aunque es sin duda una transcripción curiosa esa última A. Pero entiendo que Hyrule. Hyral. Tiene que ser Hyrule. No puede ser Hyral. You don't seem to like me talking, soldier. Vale, detective. Bring Impa of the Sheikah Force to the stand. Well, here we go, the first battle. I know Impa, she's quite a competent detective. Which worries me. Esta cara no funciona tan bien en Link como funciona en Phoenix Wright. Please let her have made a mistake just this once. Alright, state your name and whatever it is you pretend to do. You never change, do you, prosecutor? Any possible change will be for the worse. La verdad es que habría estado guay que a Ganon le pusiesen también el traje de abogado. Habría estado bien guapo. Le habría quedado mejor. Now stop waiting time, name and occupation. Oh man. Very well. I am Impa, head detective of the Sheikah Force, Homicide Division. True for now, at least. Well, what are you waiting for? Start talking! You were the one assigned to this case, so you know all about it. What calamity has befallen our fair kingdom? Kingdom? Still can't be bothered to give a proper opening statement? I suppose I can do the prosecutor's job for this time, for the sake of an unbiased look. Please go ahead, detective. The incident happened early yesterday morning on Lon Lon Ranch, a local supplier of goods located just south of Castletown. ¿Es esto música completamente nueva? No está remixeando otra. The current owner of the homestead Talon was found dead in his ranch house. A tragic loss for our king. Ah, sí, sí. Esta es del Majora's. A tragic loss for our king. ¿Es del Majora's? Sí, ¿no? De cuando el príncipe de los monos este. El príncipe de los monos, digo. Bueno, quien entendió, entendió. A tragic loss for our kingdom for sure. I have seen the man around Castletown a number of times delivering goods. Es verdad, es la del búho. Es la del búho. No la que suena. No la que suena en el Palacio de los Monos. Es verdad. He sido humillado. He sido humillado. Sé que me gustaba mucho también la del Palacio de los Monos. Y si no es esta, no caigo cuál es. Es posible que se parezca un poco. No, seguramente no. Quite, the owner was a rather important figure in the local community. In any case, we were alerted to the scene of the murder by the royal guard, who were there on official business. Official business? What kind? As I understand, the Reich provides the kingdom with vital services. To ensure it's operating as it should, and as a gesture of appreciation, the crown orders a visitation to the ranch every year. I see. Scheduled annual visit. Continue, detective. When the Sheikah Force arrived, they found the victim bleeding out on the floor. Next to him lay his daughter, Malon, breathing but unresponsive. After a thorough through investigation, we arrested her, as she was deemed the only possible culprit. That about covers the gist of what happened. Very nice and succinct. Keep that up, and perhaps you will keep your job. Ho, I don't think the good detective here has to worry much about that, given she is the head of the department. Which reminds me, why is the head of detective herself on a case like this? Were the other detectives unavailable? Ah, that will be because I have been assigned to this case by order of the King of Hyrule himself. The King himself assigned you? That doesn't happen very often, does it? You are correct, Your Honor. I am not usually involved in fieldwork like this. This time, however, the King felt it necessary because of who is involved. Who is involved? Is the death of a ranch worker really such a concern for the King? Well, as I said, London Ranch is a very important supplier of goods, to be sure. But that's not who I meant. I imagine the King wanted to top investigators on this job because it was the royal princess herself who discovered the crime scene. ¿Qué? What the fuck? Es verdad, si lo he visto al principio, si era la intro. Order! I will have order! The royal princess Zelda witnessed the crime? Ha! And there you have it. This case writes on the prince's own words. To doubt it would be to doubt your own royalty. This is bad. I can't really object to that. Pero yo no tengo royalty esa. Very well. If the princess is testifying today, it's better we don't make her needlessly wait. Detective, please testify about exactly why the defendant was arrested. Sí, son las letras de Hyrule. It is with regret that I agreed with Dragmire. All the evidence points towards this girl being the culprit. We determined that the murder definitely took place inside the ranch house. There were only 3 people on the ranch: the victim, the defendant, and the worker who has an alibi for the time of the crime, Luigi. The defendant was found unconscious right in front of the victim, who was bleeding out on the floor. Furthermore, she was holding a weapon. Without doubt, that's what was used to kill the victim. She seems like such a bright girl. It's most unfortunate. Your Honor, I would like to submit these pieces of evidence to the court. First, I have the autopsy report, performed by the Crown's top coroner. Autopsy report added to court records. Here is what we determined to be the murder weapon which we took from the defendant's hand. Saw was added to the court record. We made sure we had the correct weapon. We conducted a very thorough investigation. Naturally, we searched everyone and thoroughly examined the ranch and its vicinity. Nothing unusual was found, but to be safe, we also checked the ranch inventory list to see whether anything was missing. The list matches the items we found on the ranch exactly, and nothing but the saw had fresh blood on it. Ranch inventory added to the court records. That does sound quite compelling. This must have been a truly terrifying scene. Dying from a wound made by a weapon like this is extremely painful. This only helps to prove the defendant's viciousness. At this rate, we are going to paint Malon as some heartless monster. There is one more thing I feel I should mention for the sake of completeness. Justo ahora estaba pensando, para mi juego del 3 en raya quiero He estado luchando por encontrar sonidos de voces de personajes que suenen como esto, como burbujillas, y que cambien de agudeza dependiendo de los personajes. Y aquí parece que está funcionando. Tal vez hay que copiarse este sonido, inspirarse. Esto. Shortly after we arrived at the ranch, a courier showed up to take some milk shipments. Of course, business must go on. Tal vez suena un poco retro. Is this really necessary to enter into evidence, though? The shipments did end up leaving the ranch, so I feel it bears mentioning. Were the contents checked before you let them go? Naturally. Who do you take us for? No hacía falta que sacasen la navaja. Even though the worker handling the shipment did get quite worked up about it, we cracked all the boxes open to check what was inside. In the end, it did turn out to only be milk bottles, so we let them through. Very well. Thank you for your thoroughness, detective. My achievement added to the court record. So, what happens now? Well, this is where I step in and perform a cross-examination. Oh, great. How does that work? Huh? Could you explain what you are doing, what you're going to be doing? Can't hurt to go over this again. Sure, why not? The witness will repeat her testimony. I'll be able to scroll back and forth through individual statements by pressing A or B or with eso. They will just repeat it as many times as you want? That's right. I have to consider every little detail. Can't miss a thing. If I want more info about something, I can use L or Z to press the statement and ask the witness a question. Grill them for info. Yep, since the witness has to come up with an answer on the spot, if they're lying, prompting for more info can make them slip up. Most importantly though, if I find something that doesn't line up with the evidence, I can press R to bring up the court record. The court record is basically a list of all the evidence, right? Yes, I can open it at any time if I need to recheck the facts. After choosing the contradicting item, I will press up to raise an objection and present my doubts to the court. Oh, and I can only present evidence but I can not only present evidence but profiles as well. Profiles? The court record contains a list of all the people involved too. I can switch between evidence profiles with R. If I need to review what's been said recently, I can also press Start to see a history of messages. I see. That makes sense. Is the defense done whispering? Haha, sorry. If he's so upset about it, why don't he just presses to skip ahead? Alright. The defense is ready to cross-examine the witness. Bah, a waste of time. I sincerely hope you are not implying the standard code procedure is a waste of time, Mr. Dragmire. In any case, we are ready. Defense, please begin the cross-examination. The reasons for arrest. Por cierto, amigo, ¿estáis montando ya lo otro? Avisa cuándo. It is with regret that I agree with Dragmar. All the evidence points toward this girl being the culprit. We determined that the murder definitely took place inside the ranch house. Preseamos, L. And just how did you do that? It's quite simple. There was no blood found anywhere else. Had the victim been attacked at some other location, we would expect a trail of it leading to the scene. Couldn't the killer have just cleaned it all up? Certainly not. The path to the ranch house at Lon Ranch is not paved in any way. Cleaning blood off the ground will require disturbing the soil. Naturally, we found nothing of the sort. Bah! There wouldn't have been enough time to pull that off anyway. Likely true. Right, it sounds like the location of the crime scene is pretty firm. But I'm not giving up yet. Mi lengua ya le está costando. There were only 3 people on the ranch, the victim, the defendant, and the worker who has an alibi for the time of the crime. Veamos esa alibi. 3 people, you say? I guess that will have to be Mr. Ingo. Objection. Let me stop you before you start getting too excited. If you have listened to the rest of what the detective said, you will notice this he mentioned an alibi. Indeed, we are pretty certain that the ranch worker couldn't have been involved. Well, what is this alibi then? You might remember that I brought up some outgoing milk shipments. Well, the worker Ingo was in charge of them. He left the ranch house first thing in the morning and was busy preparing the shipments after that. Is that so? Surely he could have gotten away from that for one really quick little murder. Bah, this couldn't just be a quick little murder, as you so crudely put it. He will have to have taken steps to hide his involvement too. There was definitely not enough time for that. Unfortunately, I agree. Preparing a shipment is a lot of work. You have to milk all the cows, clean all the bottles, pour the milk out into them, arrange them into crates, and finally load it up onto a wagon. Usually I had to do it together with Father to finish before the courier arrived. The shipments were already ready when we arrived at the ranch. When we checked the boxes, they were all fully loaded with filled milk bottles. So this Ingo was able to do the work of 2 people all on his own? Isn't that a bit odd? Odd or not, he evidently did just that. Clearly, he's a man dedicated to his job. Or perhaps the girl and her father are just very inefficient. This whole thing seems awfully suspicious if you ask me, but I guess I have nothing to dispute it with. Un saludo al X. Defender from the defender está checándose esta línea que he leído ya. The defender was found unconscious right in front of the victim who was bleeding out onto the floor. Entonces sería viva. Malone fainted. Bueno, puede estar muerto y estar bleeding-se out. We couldn't get her to wake for a long time. Eventually we decided to administer a... Un momento, una paloma ha cometido saltar al suelo sin saber volar. To administer a healing fairy so he could be questioned. A ver, pero una healing fairy te resucita de la muerte. Tal vez se pasaron. Se la podían haber administrado al otro. I guess finding the body was just that much of a shock, huh? Ha! Probably just pretending, trying to make it look like she had merely found the body. In any event, furthermore, she was holding a weapon. Without a doubt, that's what was used to kill the victim. ¿Queremos presionar aquí? No necesariamente. She seems like such a bright girl. It's most unfortunate. Pero seamos esto. She sure is. We have known each other for years. Yet she murdered her father in cold blood. How curious. Perhaps you are just bad judges of character, both of you. No way. Just give me some time and I'm going to prove it. Do you see anything wrong yet? Well, usually it's difficult to find anything wrong with the basic facts of the case. That said, I do think I saw one small thing. Santiago Game Lover, me reiré con una parte de 6 personas. Gracias, Santiago, un saludo, bienvenidos. Really? That's great. It sure is, because I've got to poke all the holes I can find before the princess gets here. It is with regret that I agree with Dragmire. All the evidence points toward this girl. Vale, tenemos que chequear. Tenemos la picture, la podremos tal vez usar. No, no quería darle esto, me equivoqué. When may you see the culprit? She's just about to tell you, keep quiet and listen. Right, sorry. Vale. Vale, aquí es cuando quiero mostrar esto. ¿Cómo hago para usarlo? Core record. ¿Cómo hago para usar evidencia? No se supone que... Ah, present. Present con... arriba. This evidence reveals a clear contradiction in the testimony, Your Honor. I must say, I can't say I see anything clear here. Bah, the only thing that's clear is your incompetence. Oh, no, no, desaparece un corazón. Han puesto el horrible sistema de vidas del Ace Attorney, que sobra muchísimo. ¿Qué otras cosas tenemos? Autopsy report. Deep irregular wound made with a sharp metal object. Victim died from loss of blood no later than 8 a.m. Found in Manos hand clean of blood. No había leído esto. Clean of blood, ¿eh? Vamos a presionar primero aquí. How can you be so sure of this? Look at the autopsy report. Deep irregular wound made with a sharp metal object. The saw was the only sharp implement in the ranch house that could produce such a wound. And as I have mentioned, we also looked closely at each other's sharp things in the ranch. None had recent blood on them. Pero el arma tampoco. That still doesn't necessarily mean the saw was the murder weapon. Maybe the real culprit hid the real one. Oh yeah? Prove it then. Show us the real murder weapon. Well, I definitely don't have any way to do that. Still, something bothers me about that saw. So you have nothing, What a waste of time. Tengo algo. Cállate. Code record. Presentar. Huh, this seems like a fairly large oversight. I just want to make sure of something. The state of the saw is currently in is how you found it at the crime scene? That's correct. That's strange, considering how much the victim bled out and how deep his wound was. Why is there no blood on the supposed murder weapon? Remix. Is that all you have? Huh? Naturally, the prosecution has an explanation for why the saw is clean. Behold, this cloth was found in the defendant's other hand. As you can plainly see, it's stained with blood. The defendant simply wiped the murder weapon in a futile attempt to hide her involvement. Objection! If Malone was trying to hide her involvement, why didn't She just left the crime scene. Bah! Obviously she was trying to hide the body before the royal visitation arrived at the ranch. Unfortunately for her, it just so happened that the delegation arrived quite a bit earlier than scheduled. In a panic, she quickly wiped the saw off and pretended to make it look like she just stumbled upon the scene. Gah. Young lady, things are not looking very good for you right now. The court accepts the bloodied cloth into evidence. Bloodied cloth added to the court record. So, what's the story with this cloth? Well, as I was doing my final check around the ranch, I noticed that part of the fence around the horse padlock was damaged. Not entirely sure when that happened, but sometimes one of the horses just gets a bit rowdy, you know? Right. Anyway, I didn't want to bother Mr. Ingo about it, so I tried to cut a new rail by myself to patch it up. Un poco de agua para estos labios y esta lengua, que se están esforzando mucho. But then the saw slipped and I cut my hand open. Oh goodness, are you okay? Well, it wasn't that bad. It did bleed quite a lot though, so I used that cloth to quickly bandage the wound. I was actually going into the ranch house to ask father to help me with the fence. Ha! A likely story. And impossible to verify now, of course. Pero un momento. Ha dicho que se ha cortado con la sierra, porque se le cayó la sierra. Y luego se puso el pañuelo en la mano para tapársela. Por entonces, ¿por qué la sierra no estaba manchada de sangre si se cortó con la sierra? Le he leído mal, se ha cortado con otra cosa. The Shikaford had to use a fairy on the defendant to get her out of her supposed unconsciousness. I do have to give her some credit, she is one cunning woman. She knew that would explain a sudden lack of any wound on her hand. Oh, why yes, fairies are wonderful. Just the other day I slammed my hand with the gavel and one took the pain off immediately. Great. Glad to know they are used for such important things. But, dang it. Too bad there's no way to tell whose blood is on the cloth. No hemos inventado esa tecnología todavía. I do believe this matter has been settled. I am ready to call my next witness. Esto sería... Ups. Un buen punto para dejarlo de momento, tal vez. Si hay que jugar a otra cosa. You have searched your purpose, Seika. Begone! Fine. But you had best treat Her Highness with respect, or I will see to it that you spend the night in the dungeons. Do not presume to threaten me, Seika. A night of darkness and solitude will be nothing but comfort for me. Is that so? Then perhaps we shall fill the dungeons with lit candles for the occasion. They are glaring daggers at each other. If this doesn't end soon, we are all in trouble. Order, order! I'm sure we will treat the princess with utmost respect. You may step down, detective. This case has already made me wary, with all the pointless jabber. The time is ripe to deal the final blow. I call Her Highness Princess Zelda of Hyrule to the stand. Is something the matter? Why is everyone quiet all of a sudden? Ah, Your Highness. I believe we are just a bit uncertain on how to proceed. It is quite the honor to have such an esteemed guest in these halls. Bah! In the face of the law, the princess is no different from a peasant. Name and occupation, now! The prosecution will behave. I will not have any derogatory statement directed at the princess. No lo ha habido, no lo ha habido. Cállate, puto cerdo policía. Derogatory, I simply wish not to waste any more time. We must employ proper procedure. Tiene razón. Oh man. Is it alright, detective? I believe the prosecution does have a point. In the eyes of the law, we are all equals. On this stand, I am just another witness. I shall not be getting any special treatment. Very admirable, Your Highness. We can all rest easy knowing that Hyrule is destined to have such a wise monarch in its future. Amigo, cuando estéis metidos, avísame, ¿eh? ¿O si estáis entrando ya? Yes, indeed. I eagerly await the day when our next ruler takes the throne and reshapes the kingdom in their image. Huh. You flattered me, prosecutor. Now then, I believe I was asked for my name and occupation. I am Zelda, current princess of Hyrule, and the apparent heir apparent to the throne. Debería decir Zelda en vez de Zelda. No, eso sí que por ahí sí que lo paso. Before we begin, I would just like to know, why were you at London Ranch to witness this terrible incident? Ah, it is simple, really. London Ranch is Hyrule Castle's town's biggest food supplier. Not only that, but the ranch also equips Hyrule's royal guard with the finest of horses. Every year, the royal family makes a visit as a gesture of goodwill and to ensure the quality of the steeds. Whoa! I didn't know your horses were used by the royal guard. Yep. We work hard every year to make sure they are in the best possible condition. Father loved to boast about it to the other ranch owners. Ha! Knowing Talon, I'm sure he did. How unfortunate that the ranch might no longer meet the crown's high standards under new management. The royal family has a backup, I trust. We are looking for one. Naturally, those standards are quite high. Yes, of course. Now then, please describe what you saw on the day of the incident. Very well. Here I go. The scene behind the door. I arrived at Lon Ranch a little after 8 AM accompanied by my loyal guards. I remember being surprised at how quiet everything was. There was nobody there to welcome us. I could sense that something was wrong. I opened the door to the ranch house and went inside. The room was mostly empty. There was a table with some kind of crystal bottle on top of it. But in front of the table, a terrifying scene was unveiling. The defendant hacked at the ranch owner's chest with the saw she was holding. Estáis, vale, entonces vamos a dejarlo aquí y continuaremos otro día. Por si acaso, voy a save state. Vale. Aunque estaría bien tener este vídeo rápido porque es fresco, es fresquísimo. Vale, dame un segundito. ¿Está Librol también, Migu? En verdad es hora de hacer palomas y no las he hecho porque he estado aquí a todo. Dame un segundo que voy a confirmar con Connie. Por si acaso ella quisiese jugar también. Ahora vengo. Vale, Connie se va a apuntar. Espera, voy a escribirlo aquí. Connie se va a apuntar, pero primero quiere que le haga un té. Voy a cortar directo y ahora después abro jugando al pick, ¿vale? Adiós a todos. Gracias por venir a verme un día más. Gracias especiales a los que me habéis dado dinero. Vuelvo si no corre ninguna desgracia. Vuelvo en un momento. Jugamos al pick.